From Charmaine Roberts being immature all the time, to Jack Sheridan's annoying behavior with Mel, here are Virgin River characters that need to be kicked off the show. The first character on this list shouldn't come as a surprise. It's the one and only Charmaine. Where do I even start with her? Fans hate her every single time she shows up in any episode, and there's a pretty good reason behind this hate. It's because she's emotionally manipulating Jack all the time. In the earlier seasons, she used to guilt-trip the guy into taking her on dates, even when it was pretty clear that Jack didn't think of her as a girlfriend. Who even does that? Most fans seem to think that Charmaine should have been written out of the show back in season 2, and she's just been hanging around this whole time as an annoying ex. What's worse is the fact that she did everything she could do to make sure that Mel and Jack don't end up together, and that's something fans still haven't forgiven her for. In every season, you'll see her throwing the biggest tantrum ever, like the time she informed Jack about her pregnancy through a letter. No sane person does that. And if all of this wasn't bad enough, she also got mad at Hope for reading it. Honestly, what was she expecting? It was an unsealed letter after all. Plus, let's not forget that all of this could have easily been avoided if she just talked to the guy on call or even in person. But as we all know by now, that's not how Charmaine operates. Let's be honest, the writers make her hit a new low every season. But what's really made fans angry at her is the fact that she wasn't even carrying Jack's kids the whole time. Whatever chance Charmaine had of redeeming herself just went out of the window the moment this bombshell dropped on fans. Still, the only other character who comes close to being as annoying as Charmaine is Hope. Most viewers find her straight up crazy. Her character is so obnoxiously selfish all the time, and fans hate that she told Mel about Jack and Charmaine's baby. I mean, it wasn't even her job to meddle in their business in the first place. But do you think that stopped her? But do you know what's the most mean thing she's done so far? She literally made her husband date another woman. It was pretty ridiculous to watch, since Hope didn't want anyone to know that she and Doc were back together. So she made the guy date Muriel, who's one of the sweetest people on the show. Honestly, you'd expect this kind of behavior from someone who is a teenager, but not someone reaching their 70s. She was testing her husband in the most immature way, and she didn't even care who she hurt in the process. Hope is one character who hasn't redeemed herself at all these past few seasons, and the way the writers want us to root for her is just becoming annoying now. A Reddit user even wrote about how all the plots related to Hope seem absolutely pointless and illogical, and, well, I can't disagree. But that's not all. Turns out, Hope's not the only one who fans hate. Dan Brady's facing the same reactions too. It goes without saying that whenever a series is adapted from a book, fans can't help but compare the book version of a character with the show version. Our boy Brady has fallen victim to this because book Brady is thoughtful, sweet, and someone you'd want to be friends with. And on the other hand, show Brady is nothing short of selfish. The guy has zero redeeming qualities and has a chip on his shoulder all the time, just because everything wasn't handed to him on a silver platter. Even after everyone helps him out, he still isn't grateful, and instead thinks that he's above everyone else. And not only that, but the writers messed up big time with him. They've given his character absolutely zero depth, and it's gotten to a point that when he got into a relationship with Bree, fans didn't ship the couple at all. Instead, Reddit was flooded with comments about how Bree deserves so much better. And let's not forget that after his life as a Marine, Jack gave him so many chances to redeem himself. But Brady just wanted the easy way out and got himself involved with a very shady drug lord. Even when he showed some sort of decency at the end by not killing Spencer, it didn't have any effect on fans who still hate him for his terrible actions. You know who else has been making terrible decisions throughout the show? It's Paige Lassiter. Don't get me wrong, I definitely feel sorry for her, and her tragic backstory really broke my heart. But you gotta admit that her actions have been extremely selfish. Just hear me out. Fans understand that she was running away from her past, but to immediately dump your kid on someone you just met just made her look like a terrible mom. Why not run away with your kid again just like you did when you came to Virgin River? The whole thing didn't make sense at all. And nobody liked the fact that she killed someone in self-defense and then just left Preacher to deal with the whole mess. On top of that, the writers could have easily wrapped up her storyline in 3 episodes max, but they've been dragging this for so long that the viewers have lost all interest in it by now. She constantly drags Preacher into all her problems and drops him the second they get solved. It's getting hard to care about her because of that, since she's brought nothing but problems into Preacher's life, and maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if the writers decided to drop her out from the show completely. At least this way, we'll get to see Preacher move on, and finally have something else to do with his life other than look after Christopher. That said, this list wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk about Ricky. Now, Ricky started out as this sweet kid who used to work at Jack's bar and was slowly discovering the joys of being a teenager. But even after the writers made him out to be this rebellious teen and have a relationship with Lizzie, none of it made him interesting at all. You gotta admit that his character adds nothing to the show, and I get that the creators wanted to add a touch of youth, but at least make his story a bit more exciting. And let's be honest, with so much going on in the town, nobody really cares for what Ricky is up to. But now that I've mentioned Ricky, it only makes sense to talk about Lizzie. 'Cause trust me, she's a hard pill to swallow. The girl is as annoying as they come, and her and Ricky only steal time and fill the episode with absolutely nothing. For many fans, Lizzie is just a pretty girl and that's it. It's like the creators write her as a 15-year-old, when in reality, she's almost 19. Plus, let's not forget that in the earlier seasons, she was so mean to everyone without any reason, and used to ditch work all the time. Not only that, another thing that viewers couldn't stand was the fact that the second Denny reached town, Lizzie was already trying to get him into bed, and rubbing her relationship in Ricky's face. Speaking of things that definitely didn't sit right with the fans, they also want Jack Sheridan off the show. Most fans can't stand Jack's behavior at all. Remember back in season 1 when he was leading Charmaine on? People think that Jack wronged her. And I get that there's not a lot of Charmaine fans out there, but this accusation makes complete sense. You see, the second Mel showed up in town, Jack ditched Charmaine completely, even though she had feelings for him. He switched lanes in a second, and when Charmaine introduced herself as his literal girlfriend, Jack didn't even bother correcting her, and fans didn't like that. Honestly, Jack should have just made his intentions very clear to her from the start, instead of giving her all these mixed signals and leading her on. If only he'd been honest with her, then we could have all avoided the whole confusing love triangle between all of them. Plus, Jack's a big mess, and fans think that Mel can do so much better. He's got a drinking problem, unresolved PTSD, and doesn't even have his own life together. It looks like Mel was just handed the short end of the stick, and if Jack was written out of the show, then Mel could actually be with someone who isn't so high maintenance, you know? Maybe she could spend some time with Dr. Cameron, you never know. So there you have it. From Jack Sheridan's annoying behavior with Mel to Charmaine being immature all the time, those were Virgin River characters that need to be kicked off the show.